Many people in the world have lost parents in their lives. I never thought that would ever happen to me, though. I'd been living with my dad for my whole life. My parents divorced when I was only a year old. I don't even remember my mom. All I know is that she cheated on my dad and did drugs while she was pregnant with me. I remember, though, the hurt I felt throughout my life because of it. My dad and I like to think we were survivors. I always thought that he'd be there for me. I felt that he would see me graduate from high school and college and see me get married and have his grandchildren. What I didn't realize at the time, though, was that my dad wasn't as powerful and as strong as I had thought. He smoked, he chewed tobacco, we ate fast food for every meal. What I didn't realize, though, was that all that had to take effect sometime. I was 11 years old and I was coming home from school. The big yellow bus dropped me off and I walked through the front lawn under the willow trees to the porch. My family friend Devin, who was living with us at the time, came outside just as I was about to open the door and told me to come in and sit down. He told me that while I was at school, my dad had a heart attack. He was in the hospital. I remember feeling numb, just completely in shock. I was so angry and hurt because he didn't listen when I told him to quit smoking and he didn't. I also felt horrible because then I thought that it was my fault for not persisting enough. I didn't cry, not for a long time. Everything felt the same until I went to the hospital. My dad's girlfriend Jackie told me that I could take a few days off of school and she drove me to see him. At first I wasn't even allowed in. At most hospitals, there's a rule that children under 13 years old aren't allowed in intensive care. But one of the nurses snuck me in. I didn't know what to make of what I saw. He had tubes everywhere, needles, yellow patches of skin from iodine medicine, an insanely pallid complexion, and a machine that breathed and ate for him. I had never seen my dad so invulnerable in my life. He stayed there for a month, during which I visited him 3 times, and the doctors then sent him home saying that he'd be fine. He came home on Halloween, and when he walked through the door, I felt so relieved and happy, because for a whole month I worried that he was going to die. When he saw me, he said, "Taylor, I missed you so much. I love you." He told me that he needed to lie down, and I held his hand as we walked to his bedroom. He lay down, and I put on a movie we had both seen more than 50 times, but was still our favorite, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. We lay down watching it until Devin and our neighbor came in to see Daddy. We talked for a while about what he missed until my dad said he needed to take a walk. The doctors told him he needed to do so 4 times a day to get back in shape. He took 6 steps out the room with us following behind and collapsed. At first we thought he just stumbled, but after a few seconds we realized it was serious. They called 911 and I went to my bedroom and sat on my bed. I felt like I was going to cry, but the tears didn't come. I was just angry. At Daddy for trying to walk, at myself for just sitting there and doing nothing, at God for making me suffer this pain. He went to the hospital and died after 4 days. He'd only been home for 30 minutes. The day before he passed away, I sat next to his hospital bed and prayed, hoping it would maybe make him feel better. I made a speech at his funeral and cried in front of people for the first time. I cried for the death of my father, but also because I felt that I was cheated into my faith in God. I didn't want to believe or trust anymore. And after I moved in with my aunt and uncle, things were hard for a long time. I had trouble getting along with them and didn't want to listen to anything they said. But after grief counseling and therapy, we now get along really well. To this day, though, every time I go into a hospital, I cry and I feel nauseous. I didn't know whether or not I believed in God, but now I realize that He is a very important part of my life. And when I think of Him as my father, I feel better. If one of your parents or family members ever dies, don't stop believing that God is there for you, because He is. He gave me the chance to be with my dad and hear him tell me he loved me one last time. I'm so grateful for that. Don't stop believing, live your life, and love it.